You are all doing great. It's great to be able to spend a little bit of time on a Saturday to have tea with you guys. I got a little under an hour, I think. So we're just gonna chill out. If you have the ability, wherever you are, to set up your tea space and make some tea, even if you don't have a tea space, even if it's just a cup, give it a try. This is Tea Time. Welcome to everybody who's just joining. If you are new to the channel, I'm Jesse, I'm your tea guy. I lived for many years in China, and now I split my time between the US and China doing tea things, finding good tea for you guys, making tea videos, sharing knowledge about Chinese tea culture, and just generally having a good time drinking tea with people. I also perform comedy, so if you're in Los Angeles and you want to see me perform my English language comedy show, I'm going to be performing tomorrow night, so info on that if you are actually in the area. But it's a great question. Somebody's already asking, what tea are we drinking today? And that is exactly what I was going to ask you guys. I have a couple. I'm going to do a tea orange, but I don't know which one. So let me see. Out of this tea orange sampler that I've already started, I have 3 oranges left that I haven't done. I have the Eastern Beauty Oolong Tea Orange. I have the smoked Laosbanzhang Souchong Red Tea Orange, and I have the Royal Show Pu'er, just the classic Pu'er Tea Orange. So I guess put it in the chat, let me know which one you want me to drink. 1 for the Eastern Beauty Oolong Tea Orange, 2 for the smoked Laosbanzhang Souchong Tea Orange, and 3 for the Royal Show Pu'er Tea Orange. And we'll see if we get any votes here, which one we want to go with. Pu'er Tea, do the Oolong, 1. People saying 1, do the Oolong, Eastern Beauty Oolong, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, Oolong. Currently drinking some white Chomei from 2018, that's nice, very good. Up there, 2, 1, 2, 3, it's pretty close. Oolong Pu'er 2, so everybody is really in disagreement. 2, I'm seeing a lot of 2s. I'm gonna go with the smoked Laosbanzhang Souchong. Sorry for my very unscientific way of figuring that out, but yeah, smoked Laosbanzhang Souchong tea orange here for you guys. When you're making a tea orange, you gotta give it well, you don't have to, but I like giving it a little bit of a snap, kind of like, yeah, here a little crack. There should be enough there that you really want to be able to kind of like feel it give a little bit. You don't, I mean, you can completely crush it and then you'll just have tea and orange together. I like it so that it holds its shape just enough that it starts to kind of like expand and open. And then that way I really get the feeling like I'm drinking the whole tea orange. By the way, look how beautiful these are wrapped. These are all wrapped by hand. And I actually released a short earlier this week about my tea wrapping, the tea wrapping technique. I learned how to wrap these oranges in China with our orange farmers, and no, it's crazy. They're sitting down, they're like, you know, they have unbelievable dexterity. And if you watch the video, you can see my attempts are pretty sorry. So lots of questions over here, by the way. If I'm missing your questions, I apologize for that. Good luck on your exams, says Cryptic Codex. I saw somebody was saying that they were drinking my tea while they were studying for the bar exam. So best of luck on that. I hope you are fully legal soon. Drink a show orange along with you. Great, awesome. Jennifer Holiday said, I never heard of breaking them. I just like giving it a little crack. So if you can see here, there's a crack there. There's a crack around here somewhere. Like, if you look at those cracks, it's just gonna let the tea open the orange a little bit. And so I find it gives more like even experience. And similarly, my second technique of kind of how to make the orange well is I like pouring in, especially the first tea, very slowly just into the top so that I can make sure that all of the water is getting into the tea and kind of starting the process of the tea opening. Because I find that if you just kind of like flush it all in, then your first steep tastes just like only orange because the orange gets wet all around the outside and the tea, only a very small amount of it actually touches the water. But if you pour in right through the top, you kind of maximize that tea coming out of the first steep. I find that it gives you a little bit more of an even mix earlier on. So, ooh, smoky, yeah, it smells like bacon. It's smoked with pine wood. So here's our first wash, and then I'll get to your questions right after I finish this wash right here and get going. Cheers, everybody. Very nice tea color. We can see here, get the light in there. It's a little bit light though, and it's gonna get stronger. I also like reorienting the orange upward. So yeah, so you can see here how the little crack has allowed the orange to kind of open up, and all that tea is now getting exposed to the water in the second steep, and it's going to be very, very cool. So awesome. Great. Over here, X Merrick says, need to get some tea low key. You do. Got to get in on the tea. I'm going to reboil that to 100 and get going. Yeah, that Laosbanzhang is amazingly smoky. Somehow I managed to get into the EU. If you buy it from the American shop, you can get it into the EU. If you don't buy it from the American shop, the EU version, which I think is sold out right now and will be sold out unfortunately for a little while longer because we have to wait until the next orange harvest. When we well, we couldn't get the smoked version into the EU for food regulation reasons. Greetings from Switzerland. Hello. Would you recommend any bundles to get a lot of tea for a smaller price? Yes, so that is from X Merrick again. So I have an 8 tea sampler on my website. I have them, actually, am I out? I'm looking over where I keep them and I don't see any, so maybe I am out. But basically, they're not out on the shop. I just don't have one in my apartment. But yeah, it's 8 different teas, and I have 2 sessions of each of them. So you get 16 sessions of tea, 8 different teas, and so basically this is like maximum, you know, try it once, try it twice. If you like it both times, you can go back and get more. If you don't like it, you didn't spend that much money on it. So you can try all 8, and it's $40 for the 8 tea sampler, and slightly more in the US because of the tariff fee. Cheers, everybody. It was $40 for years before the tariffs, and then after the tariffs, I think it's 14% more than that, so it's probably like $45 or something like that. Here we go. Cheers. Finally get going. Yeah, beautiful color here. Whenever you have a smoky tea, it's really nice to just try the fragrance every time you drink it. All right. Good tea time, everybody. I am ready to answer your questions. Cheers. Give you guys a little look at the tea right there. Cheers. Oh, excellent. Oh, I just love this tea orange because it's got the smokiness, obviously, but then the sweetness from the red tea, little bit of tannin from the red tea, the orange. There's just like so much going on. And yet it's pretty well balanced. Like I was really worried when I was making these that it wouldn't be balanced. And we found a Laosbanzhang Sochong that's a little bit less than max smoky, because the max smoky stuff overwhelmed everything. So we actually had to find a version of it that was not as smoky, but believe me, you won't feel like this is not smoky enough. It's very well done. Great. All right, let's get going. A lot of questions over here. All right, here we go. Can you tell me about Thea Tea Clubs? I don't know Thea Tea Clubs. I'm not sure what that means. So maybe if there's a typo in there, let me know. You feel free to repost. Question over here. Hello all, just drinking a lovely Huangpian raw pu'er right now. What are y'all drinking? Yeah, put it in the chat if you guys are drinking any teas, what you're drinking. I love the Huangpian, the yellow cake pu'er. We have a everyday yellow cake pu'er that's on the shop right now. Actually may not be for much longer because Sister Ai, who's our tea farmer in Yunnan, told us that batch of yellow cake pu'er is almost gone. So I have a decision to make when I go back to China, whether I want to find a new batch of it and just kind of like, you know, change the label to a different year, or whether I want to shift off of that tea entirely. I like it though, so I'm hopeful that her new batch of it is good. Questions over here. I want to thank you for getting me into the Gongfu tea action. It's become my newest hobby. Thanks and love from California's Central Coast. Beautiful part of the country, California's Central Coast. Cheers. Great place to drink tea. Excellent spot. I live in LA. This is a great place to drink tea, but the California coast even nicer than the city for tea. Very cool. Drinking the Yunnan snail tea orange. Can't wait to get the pair the smokiness of Laosbanzhang with some cigars. That would be interesting. I've never been a cigar guy, but if you are a cigar guy, that would be tea and cigar pairing. I'm not the right person to do that, but somebody should do a video on that. Frioana says, where in China are you going this time? And that's a great question because I put on the title of this is my last live stream here in the States before I go to China. And I'm gonna be in China for 2 months basically. So I'm taking a big trip. So I'm gonna go over real quick what the plans for the trip are. Later this week, I think on Thursday, my dads are flying from Boston to LA. We're gonna overnight one night in LA, and then we're gonna fly together to Shanghai. And the first 2 weeks of the trip, basically, I'm gonna be on vacation with my parents. So this will be super fun. We're gonna go to Shanghai. We're going to go to areas around Shanghai, Changshu. We're gonna go to Yixing, the Purple Pot Tea Village, the Purple Clay Pot Village. We're going to go to some water villages around the area, and then the star of the vacation is we're going to go to Wuyi Mountain, where rock tea is made. So if you've ever had any Wuyi rock tea, Da Hong Pao, that sort of stuff, it all comes from Wuyi Mountain. And we're going to go there. I've actually never been to Wuyi Mountain. I know it's crazy to say as a tea guy, but I've never actually been there myself. I've drunk the tea from there for years and years and years, but I've never gotten to go. After that, my parents are gonna return to the US, and I'm gonna continue the trip making videos for you guys and doing tea sourcing. I'm going to go to Dehua in Fujian province, which is where we get our porcelain from. So like the custom porcelain where we have our own art and our own seal on there and everything. These come out of a collaboration I have with some porcelain people there. We're gonna hang out there, look at new teaware that might find its way onto the website for like Black Friday, Christmas, or something like that. And then from there, I'm gonna go to Beijing for a week or two. I'm gonna see friends, I'm gonna do some comedy shows. I'm gonna perform improv and stand-up in Beijing with all my old comedy friends, which will be nice. I was invited to speak at the Beijing University at a conference that they have there, so I'm gonna speak at Beijing University. After that, basically to chill around Beijing, see my friends at the tea market, hang out, maybe go to the Great Wall if it's a nice day. I did a tea time on the Great Wall once before, a video from like 3 years ago, but very nice. And then, what was I gonna say? From there, we're gonna go back down. I think I'm gonna go see Sister Ai in Yunnan. I'm gonna go to Xinhui where the oranges are made and see Jiege, our orange guy, and try to, keep the tea orange success going. If you don't know, by the way, I have these tea orange samplers now. They have 5 oranges in each of them. I'm kind of like most of the way through drinking this one, so it looks empty, but it's not empty. And the ones you buy on the website are not empty. And also we have the 10 packs as well of the oranges. So all the different flavors come in 10 packs as well now. So very, very cool. And go see the orange people. And then at the end of that, I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the trip kind of exploring. I think I'm gonna go to Sichuan province and go to Chengdu and Chongqing. Chengdu has a huge tea house culture. It's like some of the best tea houses, like the most legit, down to earth, like just people sitting around drinking tea, chatting, that sort of tea house. Chengdu is one of the best places to be for that. And spend some time there, and then possibly, no promises yet, but if I can pull it off, I'd like to go to Japan on the way back to the US. So basically I've got this whole itinerary going. I'm gonna be making videos for you guys the whole time. The next 2 months are gonna be amazing tea content. So if you like the channel and you haven't actually followed, follow the channel now because you're gonna get to see the 2 months of tea content. Hit the bell, do whatever you can, interact with the videos, interact with the shorts, leave comments. Just do whatever you can to let the algorithm masters that run our lives let you know that you actually want to see the tea trip to China, because I'm going to be making a ton of content. The last 2 or 3 years I've gone to China, I make a video a day. So 50, 60 videos or something like that. And that's kind of the plan here. I'm going to try to make a video a day or close to it. So very excited. And I just really can't wait to share that with you. And by the way, if you don't know, this is how I get my tea. I go to the mountains, I talk to the people, I do the sourcing, I explore around China, all to try to find you guys the best tea for your tea time. So cheers. I know I got a lot of questions during that whole thing. So The Gaiwan goat from Duncan. Dude, gotta get that on a shirt. You gotta get like a goat trying to use a Gaiwan, but it can't because it's a hoof. Or actually, maybe it can. I think it'd be really cool if there was like a goat that like somehow figured out the holding of the Gaiwan. Be great. Lots of great stuff. Hey Jesse, this is from Miss Pepco Tart. Hey Jesse, new customer to the tea shop, and so far I've liked what I purchased. Thank you. Hope you enjoy your trip, and maybe you can find a good source for some fucha. Haven't tried that yet. Yeah, we're looking at that. Last year I was trying to get fucha that was EU qualified, but I think I have to give up on it. Like the regulations just don't work. So I'm going to be looking for fucha and black tea that is available that I can get to the US and Canada for sure. And then if we can get it for the EU and UK, we will. But I think EU and UK people are, my goal this year is in stock and good selection. But we may not be able to stock all of the teas that we bring on over there. So, and by the way, thank you again to Puerto Dubbing and Timothy Brown for the roses. Thank you guys. Very cool. Lots of other questions. Did you feel pressured to start smoking when you lived in China? That's from Castaway. I didn't, although China, they have a like cigarette gifting culture. It's like, it's not as big now as it was, say, like 15 years ago when I first went to China, which sounds like a crazy thing to say. I can't believe it's been 15 years since I went to China. But back then, there was smoke. Everyone was smoking everywhere. It was honestly, as a non-smoker, I did not like it. It was one of my least favorite parts about China, was that everybody smoked. And they smoked indoors and they smoked everywhere. Nowadays, there are still a lot of smokers, but not anywhere near as many as before. Or I'll put it this way, because it's not indoors, I don't interact with it as much. And so it's kind of less of a problem for me. There probably are still a lot of smokers out there, but I don't smoke, so I don't know. I never felt pressured though. They offer you a cigarette, you go, no, like, you know, 抽吗? 抽烟吗? Like, do you smoke? I'm like, oh, 不抽,不抽. 真的不抽. Oh, 谢谢. Like, you might have to say no 3 or 4 times, but it's never like, do it, man. It's more like, oh, I'm trying to be nice. You sure? You sure? You want to eat a banana? You want a banana? You want a banana? You want a, all right, no banana. So they'll offer 3 or 4 times beforehand. And thank you to Spendin25 for the rose as well. Appreciate it. Do you have any experience with tea from Laosbanzhang? That's a great question. Yes, so I went to Laosbanzhang myself, I think 3 summers ago. I went with my friend Dui Dui. Laosbanzhang village is wild because it's, first of all, it's way out there. Like, this village is so far out there that they got electricity in 1992. The village was not electrified until the 90s. So that's how far out this place was, and that's one of the reasons why the tea there is so good. The Laosbanzhang, there's kind of like an ancient village core tree area with the very old trees. That stuff is really expensive and I don't sell it because it is really good. I've tried it before when I was there, but it's not worth the money it's not worth the money, period, I think. If you have infinite money, great. Go drink the ancient tree Laosbanzhang stuff. That's who it's being sold to, is people with infinite money. But we also sell Laosbanzhang tea on the website. We have a Laosbanzhang white tea that my friend Dui Dui makes, the Sakura Cloud Sea white tea, Laosbanzhang white. That is really, really good. It's made from younger trees in the same terroir. So it's about 2 kilometers away from the really, really ancient stuff. And because I have my tea guy Dui Dui, who's been doing pu'er for 30 years, he was doing pu'er in Laosbanzhang and in Bingdao and in Jingmaishan well before anybody was into the pu'er craze. He basically has all the contacts and he's basically has like long-term contracts set up with the farmers so that he has guaranteed tea crop every year from that area. That's really good and you should go get it. So people are like, is it real Laosbanzhang? It is real Laosbanzhang, not from the ancient trees in the rarest of the rare area, but it's from the Laosbanzhang village. It's like 2 kilometers away from that spot. It's still incredible tea. You'll really like it. Laosbanzhang tea, for people who don't know, one of the reasons why it got so popular was it just has a very, very strong tea energy. You drink it and you're up. Like it's, it can actually be overwhelming for a lot of people because it's like, it's a little bit too much for some people, but that's one of the reasons why it's a special place. And the Laosbanzhang village was wild too because it's like way out in the middle of nowhere, and then the villagers have gotten so rich from their tea that they have like 3-story giant mansions in the middle of nowhere and like 2 Audis, and it's still like this rural village with like bad roads and like weird infrastructure. So it was really a trip going to Laosbanzhang. It was a cool place. Questions over here. Mills Pepco part Mills Spec Pop Tart, I think it is, says I really like the 2010 Reserve. That's Duedo's 2010 Reserve, also really, really good. Questions over here. Hi Jesse, have you ever attended or thought about attending a Japanese tea ceremony? I've been a practitioner of it for 3 years and I've had fun comparing and contrasting Chinese tea. I actually did, of all places here in Los Angeles, there's a Japanese tea society here in LA, and a friend of mine who's an American woman has got into Japanese tea and does tea ceremony practice on the weekends. And so one time I got a chance to go to this beautiful tea house, which is in a suburban neighborhood in K-Town. There's a house that has been basically the head of the tea society, lived there her whole life. And then when she passed away, she gave the house to the tea society to be a tea room. And they have these beautiful tea areas with the tatami mats and all of the screens and everything like that. And so I sat, tried to sit seiza for however long I could. It's kind of difficult to sit in this way for that long. I did it as long as I could, and then I sat on my butt. But I sat for like an hour as they went through, entered, everybody did the full ceremony. It was really cool. I had a great time. I think it's not the sort of thing I would do every day. I find that I get a lot of mindfulness and benefit out of doing Chinese Gongfu tea, and it's a little sloppier and a little easier to deal with by pouring water over everywhere. And I think the Chinese method is a little bit towards my personality, but the Japanese tea ceremony stuff is really cool. I wish there were more places where people could go and do that in person. Maybe I'll get a chance to do that if I can go to Japan this time. The plan is to go to Kyoto, if I can pull it off. We'll see how I feel 7 weeks into doing my tea trip, whether I'm exhausted or what the deal is. But I haven't booked the ticket back yet. I just have the ticket there. Cheers. Burris Brister says, what up? My girlfriend brought me some of your tea pets because she knows I love your vids. Awesome. Thanks for your awesome content, man. Thank you guys for watching. And definitely follow the channel, click the bell, comment on the videos, do anything you can to let people know, because I've come out with a video or 2 videos every day for years, and if I show up on your page once every 3 months, that means you're missing 89 videos. So I don't know if you want 89 more tea videos, but if you want more than what you're getting, tell the algorithm really clearly that you actually want to engage with it. It literally doesn't know how much you like the video unless you do that. So cheers. Questions. Have you, Jesse, a question. I want to get the 7-tone cakes, 50 grams. Which ones can I age from the sisterized 7 cake tones? So one of the reasons I put those 7 teas together is that all of the tea cakes in the mini tone and the big tone, do I have them next to me? I don't have one on my hand, but all of those teas will either age and get better or at least stay the same. The red teas get like a little better, but they're basically going to stay the same. All the pu'ers, the show pu'er, the raw pu'er, the huangpian pu'er, that's all going to get better. The white tea is going to get better. And then the Black Beauty also gets a little bit better. So all of them will either stay the same, get a little better, or get way better with the age. And so that's one of the reasons I put them all in there together. Generally speaking, this is just kind of the way that I try to run the business side of the tea business. I try to not put green tea or like really light floral oolongs or stuff like that into like packs that I'm going to like if I'm going to do like a 7 mini tone sampler, that takes like a year to plan, do different packaging, get everything wrapped, get everything organized, get all the pesticide tests done for a very complicated product that shows up at customs and they say we need 7 pesticide tests, and we're like bam, 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 we have them. Like, if I'm going to spend that much energy on the product, I want it to be able to age and get better. I'm not going to sell anything like that is meant for, does all that work and then like every year we have to do it again because the green tea went bad or something like that. So that was kind of my solution to trying to make that product real was I was like, all of these teas are either going to stay the same or get better once you age them. So, cheers. We got some anti-Semitism in the chat. Join the IDF Jew. Thank you, Almighty. Very good. By the way, it's good chance for be able to separate some of these things for people. I'm an American Jew. I'm not related to the state of Israel, and I am not involved with any of this war that's going on. And luckily for Americans, if you're frustrated about the war, your country is also in the war, and you have a chance to be able to talk to your own country and do something about your own country. And so if you're upset with the situation right now as an American, the best thing I think you can do is talk to your representatives and let them know what you think about this country. Forget Israel or any other country. It's just very difficult to control anything else anyone else does. I think it's a better, more practical use of our time and energy if you are frustrated in anything to be able to do stuff about your own society. And luckily, if you fix your own ship, usually winds up righting other people's ships too, especially if you're from the United States and you have a big country and everybody gets pulled along into whatever path you decide to ride. So, cheers. Moy Freestyle Live says, your channel rocks. Thank you so much. Other than leaving the tea in the tome packaging, is there anything I can do to better the aging process? You can try to control like humidity and stuff like that. There's like proper humidity. I think it's like 25 to 45% humidity. I need to look up the numbers. I learned it once from somebody who does pu'er aging. But like you can try to control the humidity, but generally speaking, not too dry, not too humid, not too hot. Don't keep it near any other strong smells. Don't put it in your spice cabinet. It's just going to absorb the spice. And also, I wouldn't over worry about aging. Like, I know the mini tong, like it's a lot of tea and it's kind of a little bit of investment for you guys because it's like, it's a lot of tea. But like, people want to worry about aging when they have like 1,000 or 10,000 cakes of tea and they want to make sure they all age really well. I don't think most home tea drinkers need to worry too much about their pu'er aging. So I think that that's the, I'd say don't worry too much about it. The main thing is to keep it away from smells. I would also say keep it away from direct sunlight, but they come in the paper packaging and like, you know, this is just one of the this is a red tea cake, but you could imagine it's a pu'er cake. It comes wrapped in packaging and paper. You could leave this out under the sun and it's going to be fine. You know, the back is white. You can leave that under the sun. It's going to be fine. Don't leave it like right on next to your window so it's going to be baking all day and then get cold at night. But like, you know, common sense and your tea will age fine. And then if you're interested in aging tea just in general, I recommend usually if you're going to buy even a small thing like this, a 50 gram, get 2. Drink 1 now. And if you're anything like me, you kind of drink 1 of this today and 1 of that, 1 of that, 1 of that, and you might come back to this in a week or 2. You're really going to drink through this quite slowly. By the time you really finish it, your other cake is going to get ready and you coof buy another one if you want to keep aging. Or you could buy another one and keep aging. The other one, start drinking that. So there's lots of good stuff that you can do with your aging. Cheers. Any news about the tea resin in Europe? I've been waiting to get my hands on some of the samplers, but every time I look on the shop, it's been sold out. I've been trying as hard as I can to communicate this because I get this question a lot. We're not going to have the tea resin in the EU anytime soon on the EU shop. If you want it, you can buy it from the US and get it shipped over right now, but I can't figure out the regulations to import it practically with the current way the rules work. The problem, there's many problems, but one of the biggest one is that the EU requires that whatever you sell, you're giving 1.5 kilograms as a sample, and that's being used as a product testing. And 1.5 kilograms of tea resin at 1 gram per serving is 1,500 servings. So basically, they're looking at a swimming pool full of tea and then trying to decide if you have the smallest amount of any sort of pollutant from 626 pollutants. And it basically, like you'd have, you know, we're talking pharmaceutical levels of quality. Like, you know, controlling every single element of every single tea leaf and making sure that it's air sealed before it goes into a box that brings it from the mountain to the farm. Like it could pick up that amount of pollution from the air. So basically, I don't have any way of getting the tea resin into the EU anytime soon. But when you buy from America, for whatever reason, they don't care. because all of this stuff is based off of country, and these rules are complicated, but they're not, sometimes they help people, sometimes it's just bureaucracy. So if you want them, get them from America and we can send them to you still. The UK, however, we do have 2 of the 4 resins that passed, and so those will be in the UK shop whenever we can. So each country has its own different laws, and they pass the EU, they pass American tests, they pass Canadian tests, they pass the EU tests. I just can't get them through the EU tests. Very cool. The poor Chenpi had me pissing out my butt for hours. I trust you though, so I get it works. I don't know. I haven't heard of pu'er. Pu'er can be good for your digestion. Maybe that's what we're talking about, but I don't think that's really knowledgeable. But anyway. Other questions, by the way. I'm sorry if I missed any other questions. Jesse, if you had to pick any tea to call your absolute favorite, what would it be? From Chaotic by something. It's hard to say absolute favorite. It's hard to say favorite. I think if I had to drink only one tea forever, it would probably be raw pu'er, because the different regions of raw pu'er and the different aging of it, that stuff, like you can do an awful lot with it. It just makes you feel so good. At least it makes me feel really good. It gets me very active and focused. I find if I have a little bit of breakfast or if I have lunch and then drink the raw pu'er, you want to have some food in your stomach for drinking the raw pu'er because it's very strong. But if I do all that, I just feel like really good drinking it. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite though. Like, luckily you don't have to pick favorites. There's lots of great tea out there. Questions from Roman Powerlifter. Will you drink more aged raw pu'er with Yunqing? I hope so on this next trip. I'm going to definitely see Yunqing. We could do another rare tea time with Yunqing. That was I don't know if you've seen the episode that I did, but I have a rare tea time video with Yunqing that's going to be coming out. I actually have a rare tea video with my other tea guy at the tea market, Wukai, who does our black jasmine liubao tea. And we drank some old liubao with him, and the edit of that, the first edit of that video is done. So it's actually one of the things I need to do right now is to finish that edit and get it out to everybody. That'll be a lot of fun. Questions over here. I mean, I understand caution, but that method of testing products seems wildly excessive. It's just bureaucratic. So like if you're testing like carrots or whatever, I bet 1.5 kilos is like an appropriate amount to test. If you're testing something like tea resin, it's not. But I don't have the money to hire lawyers or like to even research how you would go about trying to get an exemption. It's already expensive to do the pesticide test, because if you're buying tea on like Amazon or whatever, and they ship it one at a time from China, guarantee you they are not doing their pesticide tests, they're not paying their tariffs, they're not paying their taxes, they're not doing their heavy metal testing. It's already hard to compete with that. And then people yell at me and they say my tea is overpriced. I think the tea is properly priced if you actually follow the law, do good stuff, put together good packaging with actual materials on the back and do the steep times and temperatures and make 500 videos a year. I think the tea is properly priced. But if you're not doing that work, if you're a Chinese online seller that has a warehouse in China, so you don't have to pay the Western warehousing prices, and you're sending it one at a time, you don't have to pay healthcare for your workers, and you don't have to do any of your testing, and you mislabel the package so that you pay fewer taxes. You could sell it a lot cheaper. But I think that in the long term, for tea to really grow in the West, we should try to do it right. And so I just try to, I just look at the cost that I pay and I try to add some profit to that, and then that's the price. We don't have any teas that are bought really cheap and sold really expensive. It's expensive on the shop. It's because it costs me more to get. And that's just the way it is. Great questions. Time for dinner. See y'all on the vids. Thank you so much for hanging out. There it is. Yes, there are. I love that room divider. I got that on Amazon. That was an Amazon one. I wish I had some nicer ones, but they're big. Here we go. Other questions over here. Sister Eyes, everyday red tea is my go-to. Thanks for putting me onto that. Dude, I'm telling you, That's really, really good tea. From Puerto Dubbing, have you had any experiences with British loose leaf tea? Not so much, because one, once you have your own tea people, like, you know, I don't, forget the British tea, I don't drink really much of anyone else's tea other than the people that send me samples, because I have my own great tea people, and then you can't really see it here, but there's like boxes and boxes and boxes of samples. There's 5 boxes of samples over there. There's 5 boxes of samples up in my storage space up above the bathroom over there. I just like drink samples all the time. So if I have extra tea times that I'm like, I don't know what I'm drinking, I get a sample from a potential supplier that I would work with. And the British tea companies, they don't grow tea in Britain. It's all from India, Kenya, Sri Lanka. So if I could try some Indian tea or Kenyan tea or Sri Lankan tea, I'd be up for that. But like most of what the British do in this situation is the blending and the marketing and basically bringing it to the West. But there are very few British that are involved directly in the farming and doing the work that my tea farmers do. So I tend to not interact that much with like any British people while doing tea, which is kind of weird. I interact with the people the British people might be buying it from, but even then, not that many of those, because the British basically sell just from their own former colonies. And it's actually been one of the big reasons why the UK shop is just always out of stock, because I have been working months to try to get stuff into the UK. You have to do hundreds of pesticides tests, and they're very, 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 very strict about Chinese tea coming in. And then there's no restriction at all on Indian tea, Kenyan tea, Sri Lankan tea. If it's part of the old colonies, they're totally fine with it. If it's not part of the old colonies and they don't make any money off of it, it's almost impossible. So if you're ever wondering in the UK why you never see any Chinese tea around, it's because of, you know, you guys know. Questions over here. I got a brick of Sheng Pu'er that's about 12 or so years old, and it can be crazy bitter if I'm not careful with it. I've almost always put it in a little agave nectar. Yeah, part of the challenge with the aged pu'er, or raw pu'er in general, is that it will mellow as it ages, but if it was, like, you know, the tea doesn't magically become better quality than what it was. And so a lot of times, like, teas that are kind of like very old will kind of find their way out to the Western market, and people buy them because they're old, but they may not actually be that good. I don't know about the case for you, but one of the signs I see in a pu'er that for me makes it like less interesting is if it just immediately gets super bitter. Now, you can, if you make that tea well, it can still be very good. A lot of times for high-end tea, the difference between the good high-end tea and the bad high-end tea is not that you can't make the bad high-end tea well, it's that you need to be a little bit more skilled. So I'm guessing you've kind of, as you've made that brick, kind of realized like, oh, I need 3 seconds here. And like 1, 2, 3, and then out. That might be all the time you can give it before it gets bitter, but if you do that well, it'll still taste really, really good. So I tend not to sell a lot of that stuff on the shop though, just because if you make it wrong, it'll taste like almost unbearably bitter. And so like, you know, people don't like that. But at the same time, there's nothing I can do about it once the tea is like that. If the tea is like that, the tea is like that. All I can do is give instructions, yeah. Danielle Leone says, thank you so much for all you do. Love the content, and the quality of the products you provide is awesome. Thank you. Please tell all your people we very much value them. Sister I is my idol. I will definitely be saying hi to Sister I and all of our tea farmers for you guys. And I'm going to cool this water down just a little bit. I should have kept it in 90. I just hit boil by muscle memory. I find the Lapsang Souchong is better at 90 than 100. I find at 100 it gets a little bit sour, but it's still good. But yeah, cheers. Very cool. I absolutely love Dui Dui's Laosbanzhang Sakura Cloud Ancient GC. It's very unique. Are there more Dui Dui teas coming? I haven't announced it, but maybe I should. Right here. May subscription box. We have a new Dui Dui tea coming in. I won't tell you what, but it's very cool. It's in the same concept as the Sakura Cloud Sea white tea, but it's different. If you like that one, I think you're gonna like this one, maybe even more. It's super good, and it's gonna be coming out, but only in the US and Canada, and then in the EU and UK. we're going to have a different tea that is going to be for your market other than that one. But actually, the problem wasn't the pesticides. The problem was the domestic paperwork in China. We couldn't get the papers to get it out to the EU and UK, unfortunately. But I didn't want to not do the tea just because of that. So yes, there will be a new Dui Dui tea coming out in May, and we're going to have it in 50-gram bags and also in full case. So keep your eyes open for that. It's going to be excellent. The 27 Iwu Mountain Raw Pu'er is really good. Eric Welch says that as well. Everything Dui Dui has on my site is really good. And the 2017 Iwu Raw Pu'er is really, really good. It's like one of these teas that surprises me. It doesn't sell badly, but it doesn't sell well. And I keep thinking like that should sell really well. It's so good. Very, very cool. I saw you drinking the old 7542 cake with Yunqing. Doesn't it cost like $10,000? Amazing video. He told me it was a couple $1,000s per cake. I don't know if it was 10, but it's expensive. And so, you know, he's just solid guy, be able to make that tea for us. And really, like, he might have done that for me even if I wasn't shooting a video, but I gotta thank you guys, because if I go to him and I'm like, hey, we're gonna make a video for the customers, and they buy his tea, his music among Song Ra Pu'er is on the shop, I'm like, you know, get something cool for this video that we'll really enjoy. And so he broke out the good stuff. So if you wanna see that video, go on YouTube, the long video, search Rare Tea with Yunqing or Jesse's Tea House Rare Tea video. You can find some of those videos. I like that format of just sitting and trying a tea and talking for 20 minutes. They don't perform well on the internet, unfortunately, but I like it. I think it's fun. I mean, it's worth doing anyway. It's just a matter of, takes a lot of time and energy and money to edit the videos. Cheers. Questions? Already pre-ordered it in the spring tea? Yep, thank you so much. By the way, we have the spring tea pre-order is open right now. If you pre-order for the spring green tea, you get a discount and you get a free green tea pad. So definitely go and get your pre-order in, because we need to tell the farmers how much we're going to buy, and we're running out of time to do that. But if you want to get in on the pre-order, get in on it now. Very, very cool. What's your favorite tea to drink inside the Xiaoqinggan other than pu'er? From Alex Yin. I really like this Lapsang Souchong one that I'm drinking right now. This is really unique. The smoky red tea. No one else makes these. We made it from scratch because I thought it would be a good idea, and I think it was a good idea. It's just like a lot going on. Love it. Very interesting flavor. Sweet, smoky, got the citrus. Like a tiny bit of acid in there. Just really good. Dig it. And of course you can re-steep it over and over again. So I like that one, yeah. Allison says, I am destined for only green tea pets. All three of mine are green. I only chose one. By the way, I'm not promising that the green tea pet will physically be green. I call it the green tea pet because it's a mystery tea pet that goes with the green tea box. I actually have already picked out the pet, but I'm not giving anyone any details, yeah. Court says he's drinking a 2014 Show Pu'er right now. Cheers. Cheers, man. By the way, if you're drinking tea, thank you for joining me for tea time. Great. Other questions over here. Question, my mom gave me a really nice Zisha pot. Excellent. What was he saying? Zisha pot. I think you mean Zisha, the purple clay. I only make my favorite show pu'er in it. Somebody asked me to add chrysanthemum, but I wasn't sure about doing that in the pot if it's every now and then. My take on this is, so for people who don't know, like the purple clay pots are kind of, a lot of people make them with only one type of tea, and that kind of like supercharges the pot because the pot is porous, so it'll absorb a little bit of the tea flavor. And if you make it, say, for instance, only with pu'er tea, it'll absorb that flavor, and then it'll kind of, over time, the idea is it'll be like charging up the pot, and you can kind of raise the pot for that specific type of tea. I don't think, it's a teapot. It's not going to blow up if you put some chrysanthemum in there. Usually I would advise against this just because it is porous, a lot of the volatile scent is going to get locked in the pot, and it may just not taste as good or smell as good if you used a different one. But it'll be fine. It's good. Like, I think that, like, I don't know, there's this very fine line between spending your time raising the teapot and then the teapot raising you, if that makes any sense. Are you in control of this, or is the pot in control of this? If you don't enjoy tea time with a friend because you're so terrified about your pot, I think that the pot has too big of an impact on your thinking. That's my personal take, just my idea. If you're a hardcore tea master, you probably would never want to have any of your pots mixing up teas. I just think that for like, you know, unless you have like 40 or 50 of these pots and like you really just have a no stress situation there, then I think that that's one thing. But if you have one purple clay pot and you're so scared to use it because you're mixing the tea, I think that's a little bit much. That being said, if it brings you happiness to only use the one type, by all means do it. It doesn't mean you're out of control. Only you know whether you're out of control, you know? Over here, question over here. I'm sad your subscription box is sold out. Any word on a restock? So the sold out subscription boxes are gonna be back in stock in May when we do the next subscription box. Hopefully starting in April, we're gonna have a way where you can basically sign up for the next box now. So the way that restocks work coming from China is that it's just physically impossible for us to restock more stuff, like see that we've sold out, put in the order, get the tea, pack the tea, send it to the port, do all the testing, send the stuff out, usually on a boat, but even if we did it by air, you save so much time. Get it to the port, through customs, from customs to the warehouse, onboarded to the warehouse. By the time we do that, 3 months have passed. So if it's out, it's probably going to be out for the rest of the cycle, but we are going to restock those teas and they'll be back eventually. And the subscription itself, the real thing that we want to do is you should get subscribed for the next box. So starting in April, I believe, the plan is April 1st, for real, not as a joke. We are going to be able to have that, functionality where if the subscription is out in your region, you'll be able to sign up for the next one and guarantee getting in on the next one. So that's the goal. But you can also order the subscription teas that are in stock from, say, the U.S. market, because we have more in the U.S. market. If it's showing out of stock, it's likely because you're in one of the smaller markets. Okay, cheers. I'm going to China in July, first time. Great, plan to get more of the pots. Yeah, have a great time in China. It's going to be super fun. Questions over here. I personally like the jade porcelain, particular that type isn't painted, or particular the type that isn't painted or glazed. I really like a fresh, beautiful white porcelain. Unfortunately, I'm not like, you know, on the internet, it has to look a little bit something interesting if you're ever going to have people really enjoy it, but you know, that's the way it works. That's awesome. My B-Day is in April. Can't wait. Thanks, Jesse. Good time to be in China. It's going to be a lot of fun. Draft McAllister says, I'm in Canada. Are we out of the subscription in Canada? We should have had enough, I thought. I guess maybe the Canadian warehouse is going better than I thought. I was just in Canada and visited our Canadian warehouse in Vancouver the other day. We're working on bringing down the shipping prices, and part of that is that the Canadian warehouse didn't have the right size boxes for us. And so we're having them buy specifically sized boxes that will get the shipping cost down because the boxes will be smaller. It's been a little bit of a bumpy start for the Canadian warehouse because normally we'd want like a year to do that, but I started it because of the trade war in April. All of a sudden it became literally impossible to get stuff from China into the US for what turned out to be weeks, but it could have been months or years for all I knew. And I was just like, I'm gonna pull the trigger now and open in Canada because I already know how much money I've lost from the trade war now. If they do this even one more time, I know it will have been worth doing all that work. And you know, the tariffs were just so destructive and continue to be so destructive that it basically is just, if you can avoid the United States market as a vendor, you would. And it's very frustrating for me as an American, and and a lot of my customers are American. But you know, it is just the reality of the law right now. So if you don't like the law, call your representatives and let them know that you want free trade again. I'm not an expert, but was recommended a dark oolong and so far. I don't know what that's referring to. I'm sorry. Eric Wells says, of course, there's a good mix of tea in that box. Excellent. Tasku Psyche says, have you thought about selling in other countries other than the ones you do already? So we can sell to basically anywhere. You can get shipment almost anywhere. I think Mexico we can't do, Israel we can't do, Russia we can't do, probably the whole Middle East right now. I don't think I could send tea to Iran. Like wherever there's literal war. And then just Mexico, because their customs just never let our tea in. I don't know why. They always, half the packages would fail. But basically you can already go to all these other countries. The question is whether we have a warehouse there. We have a warehouse in the US, in Canada, in the Netherlands, servicing the EU and the common market and the UK. And honestly, that's already too complex. As a tea guy, I love sharing the tea with everybody, and we did all that work to bring the shipping price down. But like, it's been an unbelievable amount of work just to bring the shipping price down and make the taxes easier. And honestly, I would like it if I never had to do it again. Setting up these warehouses is very complicated and frustrating, and maintaining them is really difficult because every shipment needs to be broken into multiple piles, and different prediction software needs to run on everything. So if you're seeing if you're in UK, Canada, EU, and it seems to be out of stock a lot, I am really sorry. We are trying. You have no idea how difficult it is to plan 3 to 6 months ahead for a new market that you don't know whether it exists or not, and not knowing how long it's going to take to get through customs. It's just a nightmare. But I do want to try to follow the law. And as far as I can tell, it's not legal to ship tea one at a time anywhere out of China, even though it happens a lot. And I'd like to try to follow the law if I can. So, very cool. Love you for your videos, because my love of tea and gardens will grow. Thank you, Funky Flower Garden. I've also got more into just like botany and nature and plants through my tea journey. I was always a little into that, but now that I get to think about tea every day, thanks to you guys, thank you, cheers. I found myself getting more and more interested in that stuff too. It's really fascinating, just the nature and biology of the foods we eat and drink, and the environments that create the ability for the trees to grow well. Very, very cool. One or two more questions over here. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? 4 cords. As an Australian, I seem to get my package held by customs each time, but they do still come. Yeah, we're trying to work through what to do about Australia, because every time we send a package, they keep asking for papers. And honestly, it takes us like 3 hours every time we need to get those papers. And I don't want to stop selling in Australia, but we're not making any money in Australia because every time the Australian customs needs specialized attention, and we have to have like one of our customer service staff individually deal with the Australian customs. It's a mess. I guess you're an island, so you got to be careful, but it doesn't make it easy to get people their tea. Question, I think you can send to the Middle East, it'll deliver somehow, I guess, a longer route. It depends on the shipping company. Sometimes the shipping companies just say we're not doing it. Other times, which is worse, they don't say that, but then it gets there and they say we can't do it. And I'm like, well, if you knew you couldn't do it, let me not have that option on the website for a while. But ultimately, just another reminder of why, cost of war. War is very, 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 very costly. So if you're going to fight a war, it better be for very, very, very clear reasons. Because it has all sorts of unintended effects, not to mention all the dead people. Anyway, got to figure out a way to continue to live and try to do what is within our power to try to make the world a better place every day. Even if our power is not that great. Cheers, everybody. All right. Love your channel. Tea is amazing. Love learning about teas. Thank you so much. Sad mannerisms. I can't read that from here. Other questions. I think I'm pretty much out of time. I had about an hour. It's been 55 minutes. So I'm going to start wrapping it up now. But I just want to thank you all for having tea with me. Just remind you, if you don't know, that I just told you, at the end of this week, I'm going to China. I'm going to be there for 2 months. I'll be making content every day. I'm going to be posting a lot of Instagram stories. So if you have Instagram and want to follow me, one of the Instagram stories of the trips, honestly, is maybe the best thing that I do. And it's really funny because it only shows up to the people on Instagram. But follow me on Instagram and watch my stories when I'm in China, because I like taking tons of little jokes and showing people around, and just very excited to be doing that. So very cool. Have a good one. Last question from Ralph: are we going to be restocking the Ice Jade? Yes, we're always restocking that. If it's out of stock, you'll need to wait for the next shipment. There should be a button that says notify me when it comes in, that you can click on that. And I thought we were back in stock with that already, because our post-Christmas shipment should have made it here by now, so maybe it's delayed, I don't know. But I will see you guys around. Thank you so much, and have a good one. I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.